Hi everyone, it's Andrea Tooley. Thank you so much for watching my video. I haven't made a video in a long time, and so for those of you who don't know, I am currently a second year or PGY3 ophthalmology resident at Mayo Clinic, and I have just recently matched into my fellowship position in ophthalmic plastics and reconstructive surgery. So a few months ago, I made a video kind of announcing that I was going to apply for fellowship in Oculoplastics, as we call it. And since then, I have not made many videos. I've made a couple while I was kind of on the interview trail, but the whole experience was amazing and crazy. And I just wanted to make a video to kind of tell you about what I experienced going through it and kind of what I learned along the way and things like that. So before we get started, I should announce officially that last week I matched into a fellowship in New York City, and with Oculoplastics, the fellowship is slightly different than other medical or surgical subspecialties where you match with a specific institution. And with Oculoplastics, you really match with a specific person, and so it's more of an apprenticeship, and you're not tied to the institution, you're tied to the person. So for example, if the person that you've matched with decides to leave their institution and move across the country, then you would have to move with them because you're their fellow. And so I matched in New York City with a physician named Dr. Richard Lissman. He's been training oculoplastic fellows forever, and he's just amazing. And there's actually 3 other faculty that are part of the fellowship. So I won't be strictly with Dr. Lissman. I'll be with 3 other oculoplastic physicians. And so between the 4 of them, I will be operating kind of all over New York City. So I'll be at Cornell, Columbia, NYU, and kind of everywhere else, and a multitude of private practice areas as well. And so I will be covering Manhattan, and Kyle's my husband, we are so excited for a completely life-changing adventure moving to New York City. It's a 2-year fellowship, and it's going to be a very intense 2 years. I'm going to be learning so much about oculofacial and ophthalmic plastic surgery. It's going to be amazing, and I'm so happy. Honestly, this is my dream fellowship, and I just couldn't be happier with how I matched. So, kind of back it all up, and I will just give you kind of the whole overview of what it was like applying for a fellowship in oculoplastics. Just to kind of talk about the basics and clear everything up, in terms of an American or U.S. medical system, you go to college, then you do medical school, then after medical school you do residency, and that can be in whatever field you have applied for. So I went to residency, or I'm currently in residency for ophthalmology, and then if you decide to further subspecialize within your residency specialty, then you apply for fellowship. And fellowship ranges from 1 to 3, about 3, maybe some are longer, years after residency, and it's additional subspecialty training. So within ophthalmology, the various fellowships are in retina, glaucoma, neuro-ophthalmology, pediatric ophthalmology, cornea, all the things like that, and then there's oculoplastics. And oculoplastics is the one fellowship where you don't apply during your final year of residency. You actually apply during your second year of residency. So that's an entire year early. So right now, it's currently April of 2017. I've just matched. I will graduate from ophthalmology residency in June of 2018, and I won't start fellowship until 2018, until July of 2018. So I'm a whole year ahead of the game, which has its good sides and its bad sides. So I think one great thing about it is that I know where I'm going, and I have an entire year to kind of plan for that. My husband can look for a job. We can kind of get everything really settled. We know where we're going, which is just huge, and we're so grateful that we know where we're going. But then the downside is that you have to be ready to submit your application and apply for this extremely competitive fellowship when you've only had really 1 year of residency in ophthalmology. And some people haven't even done oculoplastics. They have no idea that that's what they're interested in. And so I think it's really challenging to be ready to submit your application after only doing 1 year of residency. So for me, I really loved Oculoplastics when I did it in November of my first year. And I'll link to my blog, but I have some posts that I wrote during that time when I was a first year and how much I enjoyed Oculoplastics. And then I tried to keep an open mind, but throughout the rest of first year, I just realized that plastics was really what I loved and what I could see myself doing for my entire career. And so right in the summer, when I first started my second year of ophthalmology, I made the decision to apply for Oculoplastics. And I also wrote a blog post about that, and I'll post that down below so you can check that out. But I basically went kind of silent on social media because I had to completely laser focus on getting my application ready to submit in the fall. And so that meant getting research ready to go, getting my letters of recommendation all set up, and things like that. So Oculoplastics is a very competitive subspecialty within ophthalmology, and so if you're interested in oculoplastics, then it's almost essential that you have some kind of research within oculoplastics and strong letters of recommendation from other oculoplastic surgeons, and then some other kind of something in your CV to show that you're unique or that you're interested and committed to the field. And so I wanted to kind of get all of that together in my application and be ready to submit it in the fall. The application opened in, I think, September, if I recall, and then I submitted mine in October. But after that, we didn't hear about interview invitations until December. And so I submitted in October, it was all done, it was over, it was out of my hands, and then I had to wait until December to see if I would get any interview invitations. So with Oculoplastics, I applied to 30 programs, which was all of the programs, because it's so competitive, there's so few spots, and so I just thought, like, why would I not apply to all of them? And so I applied to all 30 of them, and I did that through a central online application, and my application consisted of a personal statement, my kind of CV with all of the different activities in leadership, the different honors that I've had, and my different research activities. Those are the big things. And then 3 letters of recommendation. I had 2 from oculoplastic surgeons and then 1 from my chairman of the Department of Ophthalmology at Mayo Clinic. And I think that's kind of the formula that most people follow. They have a chair letter and then they have 2 oculoplastics letters. Unless you have a very strong relationship with someone you've done research with or something like that, then that would of course be a great letter of recommendation because they know you and they can really speak truly about you as a person, and that's what you want in a letter of recommendation. So I submitted my application, waited around till December. I had applied to all of these programs, and then that's when interview invitations started to come in, and the interview season ran from January to the end of March. So my very first interview was January 4th, and I didn't finish my interviews until March 30th. And so it was a long season. I ended up doing 14 interviews, and I was really happy to be able to do that many. It was really difficult to get away from my program for that many days because you're traveling all across the country, and your program not only needs you to cover call for your co-residents and to be there in clinic seeing your own patients, but also you're on rotations where you need to learn this kind of stuff. And I was on one of my cataract surgery rotations, and I didn't want to be missing valuable opportunities to learn how to do cataract surgery. And so it was very stressful trying to minimize the amount of work that I missed, but I just tried to make it work. And I was able to go on 14 different interviews, and I loved them all. I mean, honestly, I think getting to travel around the country and get a glimpse of all these different fellowship programs, really see how they work, meet these giants in the field, you know, people whose names that you know, you've read their papers, you've read their textbooks. Like, these are incredible physicians and surgeons that I got to meet, and it was an opportunity of a lifetime. And I really think that going through fellowship interviews felt very different to me than going through residency interviews. And I think that's because with residency, it's such a change from medical school. The leap from medical school to ophthalmology residency is just like night and day. And so as a medical student, even though I had gotten advice from people and I had this like list of things that I wanted in a program, you still don't really understand, and you don't really know like what to ask and what you're looking for in a program. You just want to be an ophthalmologist. And so going on all these residency interviews, I just kind of took it all in, but I didn't really understand what I was hearing. Versus fellowship, which I still have no idea what it's going to be like to be an oculoplastic surgeon, but I have been on the Oculoplastics service. I've seen the fellow. I know what their life is like. I know what clinic is like. And so I think you just have a deeper understanding of what the fellowship is going to be and what your life is going to be as a fellow. And it just made getting to see all of these different programs so much fun. And I felt like I learned a ton, and I just loved it. I mean, I had the best interview season experience ever. And besides getting to see all these programs, I also made some just really amazing friends. I met these fantastic superstars. You can't believe all these people that you're applying with, and it makes you really nervous because all of these people are just incredible, and you can't believe that they've done all this research and they're like inventing things and they have patents, and these people are just amazing. And then I get to think, like, these are going to be my colleagues for the rest of my life. Like, I get to work with these people forever. And so we all became really good friends. We had like a group text, and everybody would share stuff about what they thought about programs, and we'd go out together after interviews, and the whole thing was just such a fun experience. So I really loved all of it. I mean, I loved all of it. And I tried to take notes of what I was looking for in a program, things that were very important to me. So, for example, I'm interested in academic medicine. I want to be a residency program director one day. And so I want a fellowship program that's going to set me on that career path. So some of the fellowships that are very private practice, maybe don't align with my career goals. And so I tried to kind of feel it out to see if it was the type of fellowship that would allow me to kind of be on the path that I want to be for the rest of my career. But otherwise, you're getting so much information, so it's really hard to know like what's important and what you need to take away from the programs. I think at the end of the day, after talking with so many people, really what is important is that kind of gut feeling that you get about the program. And if you just feel like these are my people and this is where I belong. And I honestly felt that way about New York. And I just loved every minute of it. I'm eternally grateful for my experience. So after my interview season was over, I had to make my rank list, kind of like I mentioned. I ranked all the programs I interviewed. I didn't interview anywhere that I thought I wouldn't want to go. And really, I would have been happy anywhere on my list. I mean, I would have been happy with number 1 through number 14. I just wanted to be an oculoplastic surgeon. And so I submitted my rank list on April 6th of 2017, and 1 week later I matched on April 13th, and so that was Thursday. And the funny thing was, they posted online, but I had no idea how we were going to find out. And so I woke up at 4 in the morning, because you guys know I get up really early. I don't always get up at 4, sometimes like 4:30 or 5. But that day I happened to get up at 4 because I wanted to get some work done before I had to go to clinic. And so I immediately logged on my phone while I was still lying in bed. And I logged onto the website just to see if I had matched or if anything was posted there. And it said, status matched. And then I clicked on matched. And it said Manhattan Ioneer, Dr. Listman. And so I was just overjoyed. But then it was 4 in the morning. And so I couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't call my friends. I couldn't call my mom. I obviously told Kyle, my husband. But I had to wait until an appropriate hour where I could tell everybody that I had matched. And really, I just had the best day ever. So much celebrating, and my entire residency class went out with me for dinner the day after to celebrate, and it's just been a great experience, and I'm so lucky and I'm so happy that I was able to match. In general, it's a super competitive match, and it's not easy, and not everyone is able to get a spot. I think there's between 50 and 60 applicants a year, and between 20 and 30 spots a year, and so it's really hard. And I think that everybody that applies is just outstanding, and so some of it's kind of just like luck of the draw, and I'm just really happy that it all worked out for me. So that is my fellowship application and matching story. I'd be happy to share any other kind of tidbits I've heard or learned about the fellowship application and matching process for Oculoplastics. Of course, I'm still in residency. I have not started Oculoplastics Fellowship yet, and so I don't really know anything about what happens then. But that's my story, and I'm happy to share it with you guys, and I will talk to you later.